Hey everyone, thanks for joining Learn to Play Games. My name is Lance, and in today's video I'm going to teach you how to play a Goofy movie. This is a brand new game from Funko Games. It is a 2 to 4 player game that takes roughly 20 to 45 minutes to play, and is a competitive game where players are going to be competing with each other, trying to collect different cards to get the most points to be the winner at the end of the game. So in the game itself, you are going to be playing Max or one of his other friends that are going to be making your way across the United States, trying to create memories. And on your journey there, you're trying to get to Los Angeles to attend the Powerline concert. And as you do that, you're going to be collecting different cards, adding them to your hands, and at the end of the game, based on the different sets of cards you have, you're going to receive points for that. And the player that has the most points will be the winner of the game. So as always, if you find these videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribe to my channel. It's one of the easiest ways you can support channels like mine so we can continue to grow, be able to produce this content. If you want to get notifications anytime I drop new videos, also give that notification bell a ring, and that'll let you know when I drop new stuff. So let's head to the table and I'll teach you how to play. The first thing we'll look at is the custom die included in the game. This is a standard 6-sided die with a number of different icons on it. The first is the Goofy face. When you roll this icon, you are going to go to the board and gain the Scrapbook card that is currently underneath Goofy. From there, you'll replace that card with a new card from the deck, and then you're going to move the Goofy model one space forward on the track following the arrow. Next, you're going to have the Powerline symbol. With this symbol, you're going to move Powerline forward one space on his track. There's going to be 3 sides with the Powerline symbol. Next, you're going to have one side that has a Goofy icon and a Powerline symbol, so you'll resolve each of these. Final side is going to have 2 Powerline symbols, so you'll move Powerline twice, and then you'll also resolve the Goofy icon as stated before. There's also one deck of cards included in the game, which is the Goof Family Scrapbook deck. Each of these cards on the deck is going to have a name at the top of that card, along with an icon, and there are going to be 5 different icons you'll find throughout this deck, which are the car, the cactus, camera, microphone, and fishing rod. Each one of these cards will also have an image, and at the bottom of the card is going to explain how you get points for that card, with some of them, such as the cactus, giving you 1 point, and the most cactuses will also give you a tiebreaker, where with the camera, the player with the most cameras is going to get 2 points for each. Otherwise, each of the cameras is worth 1. Or with the fishing rod, for every 2 fishing rod cards you have, it's going to give you 3 points into the game. With the car, for every 3 cars you have, you're going to get 6 points. And finally, with the microphones, the player that has the most microphones is going to receive 5 points, and the player with the second most microphones will receive 3. There are 4 different characters included in the game, and each one will have its own miniature and its own custom deck of 12 cards that are going to be broken down into the 4 different colors, which are blue, pink, orange, and green, and each of these is going to have a number up in the top corner, as well as it will allow you to move a number of spaces, either 1 or 2 spaces with some cards, and most cards will have you only moving 1 space. And each character is going to have a different sequence of numbers for each one of the colors, ranging from 1 all the way up to 12. I'll cover this more a little bit later. There are also 6 bonus tokens included in the game, and this is an additional way for the players to gain points. When a player collects one of these tokens, most of them, or 5 of the tokens, are going to give the player an additional 2 points per card of that type that they have at the end of the game. For example, with this one, I'm going to get 2 additional points per cactus card that I have at the end of the game. The final bonus token is the wild bonus, and this one you will resolve immediately when you collect it, which will allow you to gain one of the cards from one of the 4 different colors immediately, and then you'll discard this token. Moving into setup, the first thing you're going to do is place the main game board out in the middle of the table, and then you can go ahead and grab the Goof Family Scrapbook, shuffle that deck up, and place it up in the top corner where it says the Scrapbook cards, and then you're going to reveal 1 card and place it face up on each one of the colored spaces. Next, go ahead and grab the bonus tokens, shuffle those up, and place 2 of them in each one of the spaces that has the shape of those bonus tokens. So we'll have 1 there, and then you'll go ahead and place a second one on each of those locations. So each location will have 2 bonus tokens. Go ahead and place out the die so that all the players can reach it. And then you're also going to place the Goofy model up on the blue colored space and the Powerline model down at the bottom corner of the board next to the Powerline bus. For setup, each player is going to choose one of the characters they want to play as and gain that character's miniature and their custom deck of 12 cards, which will have that character's image on the back and the front of the card. Go ahead and shuffle that deck up and then draw the top 4 cards of the deck, and this will be your starting hand. And the final step of the game is to have each one of the players place their miniature on the starting location. From there, you're ready to move into the game. A Goofy movie is played over an undefined number of rounds, and during each round it is broken down into 6 steps that the players are going to do in order. This is going to continue until one of the 2 different endgame conditions is met. Either if the Powerline miniature is moved all the way to Los Angeles, then the players are going to complete the round that they're currently in so that all players have had an equal or had a turn. Then they will play one more round where each player will get one final turn, and then the players will move into a scoring step. Or if the Goof family Scrapbook deck runs out, if that happens, then the players are just going to complete the round that they're in, and then they'll move into the scoring step. Either way, at that point, then the players will score up all of their cards and add any bonuses for points that they get if they made it to Los Angeles based on the seat that they chose. And then the player that has the most points will be the winner of the game. So let's go ahead and move into the game, and I'll take you through each one of these steps in more detail to show you how they work. The first step in the round is that each player is going to select one card in their hand, and at this point each player should have a hand of 4 cards that they've drawn from their own personal deck. Now do not reveal this to any other player, and once you have made your selection, you're going to place it face down in front of you. So let's look at an example of this. So let's go ahead and say with Max, I'm going to go ahead and play this card here. So I'm going to place that face down, and the rest of the cards I can place somewhere else if I want to, or just keep them in my hands. And then for PJ, I'm going to just select his card. Once all the players have played a card face down, you're ready to move into step 2, which is going to have all the players simultaneously reveal the card that they've played. Once they have done that, you're ready to move into step 3, which is going to be resolving these cards. And this is the first opportunity that players have to potentially gain a Scrapbook card. Now, not all players will always gain a card in this step. So from here, then, the players are going to look at the cards that they played, and each player that played a card that has the highest number of that color is going to gain the card of that color. So for example, with both of our players playing a different color, each player is going to gain a card from that color. So with Max here, he played a blue 6, so he's going to gain the blue Scrapbook card and add it to his area. With PJ, he played the pink 7 card, so he would gain this card and add it to his area. But let's look at another example of this. So let's go ahead and say that instead of our players playing these cards, they played these cards. So in this situation, both players played an orange card. So only the player that played the highest orange would gain a card from the top. So PJ here played a 12, which beat Max's 9. So PJ would gain this card from the Scrapbook, and Max would not gain a card since he played a lower orange card than PJ did. Now, once all of the players have collected their cards, this is also an optional thing. It's totally up to you how you want to play. The rulebook does not specify whether these cards are going to be kept hidden or they are revealed so that all players can constantly see what each player has collected throughout the game. So this one is totally up to you how you want to play it. Once all the players have collected any cards that they gain for this, then you're going to refill any slots that have been emptied from this selection. So you'll add new cards in step 4. From there, then you're going to move into step 5, which is going to be the second opportunity that players will potentially have a chance to gain a card from the Scrapbook. Step 5 is going to have the players moving, and this is going to be done in the reverse order. So the player that played the lowest number card will go first, followed by the next player that played the lowest card, and so on. Color will not matter in this situation unless there's a tie for the lowest color or lowest number, which I'm going to cover next. So from there, then the player that has played the lowest number, in this example, Max is going to be the one that played the lowest. Each card is going to tell you the number of spaces you can potentially move. So with Max's card, he can only move 1 space. So he must follow one of these black lined paths to one of the spaces. So he can move into either one of these spaces, which will have him roll the die, or he can move into this pin colored space where he's going to gain the color underneath of that pin. So for example, if he moves here, he'll gain the blue card in that section. So let's go ahead and say that Max does that. So he would gain this card, add it to his area, and then immediately refill that spot with a new card. Then he has resolved his step, so then the next player will go, which is PJ. So PJ, again, can move 1 space. And since PJ is the next player to go, if he chooses a space that contains a character, then he can skip over that space for free. So with PJ, I could move into that space and then move into this space, as it does not count as the one space that I'm allowed to move based on my card. So I can come up here up to this orange pin, or I could go down here to this die space. So let's go ahead and say with PJ that he went down here onto the die space. So when you stop on a space that has a die, you'll go ahead and roll the die and resolve the effect. If it is a Powerline symbol, you'll move the Powerline figure one space along his track. If it is a Goofy symbol, you will gain the card that is underneath the Goofy model, add a new card to that space immediately, and then move Goofy to the next space, following the arrow on that space. If he is on the green space, then he will come back and move back onto the blue space. The one other thing that might happen is if you have a character that moves onto one of these bonus spaces. That character will get to take a look at both of the tokens on that space, or any tokens that are on there, choose one of them to add to his area secretly, and place the other back on that slot. If you have taken all the tokens off that slot, it turns into a die space, so you would roll the die and resolve the effect as normal. Now, the one other example that I want to show with this is, let's go ahead and say, for example, that Max and PJ had played these cards instead. So in this situation, they are tied for the lowest number to go. And so with this, then the color is going to come into play. The player that has the color that is closer on the left side of the track will go first. So the player that played the blue will go first. If otherwise, it would be pink, orange, or green. So with Max and PJ, Max playing the blue and PJ playing the green, Max would be the next one to go and resolve his turn, and then PJ would go. If there was another player that played a 2, let's say that the third player played the pink 2 card, then that player would go next, and then PJ would go, as he has the color that is last on that track. The last type of space that I want to cover is Los Angeles. So when a player moves onto the Los Angeles space, he's going to choose one of these seats to take up from that point on. Each seat is going to have a number of points that you'll gain as victory points at the end of the game, and is also going to have the die symbol, so you'll be rolling the die from that point on. Now, as a player, you can move in any direction you want to, so players do not have to constantly be working their way across the board. They can move backwards or forwards, however they want to do it during their turn. The one other important thing I want to point out with movement is once a player moves into Los Angeles and chooses which seat that they want to have, they are not going to be able to move anymore for the rest of the game. They will continue to play the game just like every other player, but during the move step, they will not be able to move off of their concert space. Instead, they're simply going to roll the die and resolve the effect as normal. The final step in the player's turns is that each player is going to go ahead and discard the card that they played that round to their discard pile, and then immediately draw a new card into their hand, so that all players will always start a round with 4 cards. If you ever run out of cards for your draw pile, go ahead and shuffle up your discard pile to create a new draw pile. The players are going to continue playing round after round until one of the endgame conditions is met, which again is if the Goof family Scrapbook deck runs out, the players will finish off the current round so that all players have had an equal number of turns, and then they'll move into a scoring step. The other way that the game is going to end is if Powerline makes his way all the way through the map and ends on Los Angeles. At that point, once he has entered Los Angeles, the players will complete the current round, and then they will get one final round with each player getting to take one final turn, and then the players will move into a scoring step. So at this point, let's go ahead and take a look at how that works. All right, so at this point, I've went ahead and simulated the end game, and we're going to go ahead and move into scoring. So Max here was able to finish off first, and he has 20 points for his seats in the concert, and PJ came in with 15 points. Now, not all the players may make it to the concert, and that's okay. Those players will still score points. They just will not get any bonus points for any of the concert seats that they could have potentially moved into. From there, then, you have on the back side of your reference card is a scoring track that you can easily go down. So first thing we're going to look at are the cactuses that each player has. Each player will score 1 point for the cactuses that they have, and then the player that has the most cactuses will be able to break any ties that that player has potentially. So right now, Max has an extra point, and PJ has 3 points for his cactuses. Next are the cameras. So the player that has the most cameras is going to receive 2 points, and otherwise they were going to receive 1 point. So Max has the most, so he's going to get 6 points for his cameras. PJ only has 2, so he's going to end up only receiving 2 points for his, as he doesn't have the most. Next, we have the microphones. We're going to get 5 points for the player that has the most microphones, and our players are tied for that. But remember that PJ has the most cactuses, so he gets to break ties in his favor. So he's going to get the 5 points for the microphones that he has, and Max is only going to receive the 3 points as he has the second most. From there, then the players are going to receive 3 points for every set of 2 fishing pole cards. Max doesn't have any, and PJ has 1 set of 2 fishing pole cards, so he's going to receive 3 points for that, as he didn't complete the second set. Finally, each player is going to receive 6 points for every set of 3 cards that they have. So Max was able to get 3, so he's going to get 6 points for that. Then each player that has any bonus tokens are going to receive points for that. And so Max is going to receive 2 additional points for every card that he has. And PJ is going to receive 2 additional points for every one of his fishing rod cards that he has. From there, the players are going to total up all their points, and the player that has the most will win. So let me go ahead and run those numbers real quick, and we'll see who comes out at the top. All right, so PJ ended up with 34 points and Max came in at 42. So Max is our winner in this game. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please post those in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer them. And until next time, I'll see you later.